They were not sure if he'd be able to walk or move anything below his shoulders. He would legit be paralyzed. I sat there with the news she told me. I couldn't even wrap my head around what I had just heard. I was trying to balance my anger, frustration, sadness, despair, and heartbreak, but very successfully. If only he listened to me, I said to myself. And I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on that car, just for it to be flushed down the drain. No, I can't think like that. He's my brother. The car means nothing against his life. My mom heard the part about the car and nothing else. She told me that that car didn't matter, and that I should be praying that my brother made it out of surgery alive and well. I understood that, and wished the best for him, but on the other hand, I put all of my savings into that car, and we would have both the car and my brother, if he weren't so irresponsible. My parents had a way of focusing on my brother, instead of how things affected me. When I was 7, I had a favorite teddy bear that I would sleep with every night. His name was Bear Bear. I loved him, and played with him all the time. He was one of the only gifts I got as a kid. One day, the dog my little brother begged for, Coco, wanted to play with Bear Bear like I did. When I came home from school one day, Bear's stuffing was strolled all throughout the house, in the living room, in our bedrooms, and even the kitchen. To this day, I don't know where some of Bear Bear's limbs went, and my parents blamed me for keeping my bear in a place where Jake's dog could chew on it. Then, they told me that I would be responsible for cleaning up his dog's mess. We sat at the hospital until the sun rose, and a man wearing a white coat and holding a clipboard walked into the waiting room, asking to speak with our family. My heart dropped, and I prayed that Jake wasn't dead. My mother looked nervous, and we followed him to the room. He told me that Jake was stable but would need a few more surgeries. Seeing him lifeless on the hospital bed felt surreal. The doctor said he would be there for a while, and that we were free to leave. My parents insisted they stay in the room with Jake, but I knew I couldn't stand seeing him like this much longer. I said my goodbyes, and told them to keep me updated. They agreed, and I went on my way. The next few days, Jake is still recovering from the multiple surgeries, and I'm drowning in debt. The insurance company called me, saying how much I owed for the vehicle and the damages from the accident. Jake wasn't on my insurance, so they refused to cover the costs. I was hundreds of thousands in the hole, and knew this would take the rest of my life to pay off. I worked as an electrical engineer for an architecture and engineering firm, and paid decent pay, but not enough to cover that much. Every day at work, my mind would be filled with rage, while I was supposed to submit drawings to my manager. I was angry, because I loved my Mustang. And now, my brother might not be paralyzed due to this stupid decision. To make matters worse, I was now in debt. I had a bit of savings, because I planned to move out of my house an hour and a half away, and into a house near my job, but now that dream is gone because of the accident. My brain fog got worse over the next few weeks, and my work suffered from it. My supervisor would often come to my desk and ask if I was okay, because I would sit in front of my computer screen without moving my mouse, and stare at it without blinking. I started submitting work late, when I was usually a person who considered submitting it on time was late. The work that I submitted was usually wrong or needed improvements. I would stay long hours at the job without accomplishing anything on the agenda for the week. I could tell the people around me were noticing it too. During lunch one day, I overheard my coworker Catherine talking to my boss. She complained about having to do extra work without extra pay, since I couldn't complete my tasks on time. She said it wasn't fair that she had to check over my work every time, because it took her longer to correct my work, instead of doing it herself. I felt my heart drop. I knew I had to do something, but I felt hopeless. I tried to be on my A game at work the following weeks, but the stress of the insurance company became an everyday battle. They would often call to ask for their money and offered payment plans, but I couldn't afford any of them. I then thought I might have to sell my current house and move into an apartment to pay off the debt collectors. I felt like this incident kept putting me behind the goals I set for myself. One day, I got a call from my brother after he was recovering in rehab. He asked for money to help cover his medical bills, and I told him about my situation. He said I normally help him when he needs me, and asked why I couldn't do it this time.